This is a reading from the Notebooks by Maria Valtorta, 1945 to 1950. April 15th, 1945. Ezekiel 37, verses 1 through 14. Jesus says, I ask you, as the Lord asked Ezekiel, do you think these bones will live again? Like Ezekiel, I answer, you know, Lord God, for I understand the meaning of the word bones when used to say men. That is, I understand that Jesus is not asking me if the dead will rise again on the last day. This is faith, and there is no question about it. But he is applying the term bones to this poor humanity at present, so entirely material and not at all spiritual. I understand this because, as I have already explained to you so many times, when God takes me so that I will be his spokesman, my intelligence is amplified and raised to a power far superior to that permitted to human beings, and I see, hear, and understand according to the Spirit. Jesus smiles because he sees I have understood his question and explains, that's the way it is. Humanity is now nothing but bones, calcined, heavy, dead ruins, sinking into the fetid furrows of vices and heresies. The Spirit no longer exists, the Spirit that is life in flesh and life in eternity, the Spirit that is what differentiates man from animals. Man has killed himself in his best part. Is he a machine? Is he a beast? Is he a corpse? Yes, he is all of this. A machine, for he goes through his day with the mechanicalness of a device that works because it must work by virtue of its parts set in motion, but does so without comprehending the beauty of what it is doing. Man, too, rises and goes to bed after having eaten, drunk, worked, strolled, and spoken without ever grasping the beauty and ugliness of what he does, simply because, deprived as he is of spirit, he no longer distinguishes beauty from ugliness or good from evil. He is a beast because he contents himself with sleeping, eating, and accumulating fat on his body and reserves in his lair, exactly like a beast that makes these operations its life goal and the joy of its existence, and justifies everything, selfishness and ferocity, through this base and brutal law of the need to plunder so as to be sated. He is a corpse because what enables a man to be called alive is the presence of the Spirit in the flesh. When he breathes his last, man becomes a corpse. In reality, man at present is a corpse kept upright and in motion by the sorcery of mechanics or the devil, but he is a corpse. Well then, I tell you, behold, I will infuse the Spirit into you, dry bones, and you shall live again. I will make your nerves rise up again upon you, and your flesh grow again, and your skin spread out again over you, and I will give you the Spirit, and you shall live again, and know that I am the Lord. Yes, I will do this. The time shall come when I will have a people of the living once more, and not corpses. In the meantime, behold that to the best ones, not dead, but reduced to skeletons for lack of spiritual food, I give the nourishment of my word. I do not want your death by consumption. This is the substantial manna which gives you strength with sweetness. Oh, feed upon it, children of my love and my sacrifice. And why must I see that so many are hungry, and there is so much food prepared for them by the Savior, and it is not drawn upon for those who are hungry? Take nourishment, get to your feet, and come out of your graves. Come out of inertia, come out of the vices of the age, and come to knowledge, come to recognize the Lord your God. I told you at the beginning of this work, and in the middle of the tragic war. Footnote 33. See, for example, the entry for July 29th in the notebooks, 1943, and the entry for August the 5th in the notebooks, 1944. And I repeat, this one of the wars paving the way for the times of the Antichrist. Then the era of the living Spirit will come. Blessed are those who prepare to receive that age. Do not say, we won't be here. You won't. Not all of you will be here. But it is foolishness and a lack of charity to think only of oneself. Atheistic children are born of atheistic fathers, lifeless children of lifeless fathers, and they, your children and the children of your children will greatly need spiritual strength for that hour. At heart, the law of human love is to provide for the good of one's children and grandchildren. Do not be inferior as regards what is spiritual to what you are in regard to the things of this world. As you give wealth to your children, or endeavor to provide it so their days will be happier than yours, work to give them an inheritance of spiritual strength, that they can develop and to multiply in order to have an abundance when the hailstorm of the worlds and Lucifer's last battle scourges humanity so fiercely that it will wonder whether hell is not better. Hell. Mankind will experience it. Afterwards, for those faithful to the Spirit, paradise shall come. The earth which is not earth shall come, the kingdom of heaven. Footnote 34. We pass over the following 36 handwritten pages, dated April 15th to 18th, 1945, containing the last 4 episodes of the first year of the public life, and 5 pages dated April 19th, 1945, containing the first episode in the second year of the public life. April 20th, 1945. I insistently saw the remains of a carbonized human body. It was a pathetic, fearful sight. It was so corroded by the flames that it resembled a formless iron statue taken from the bottom of the sea. The head could still be discerned in the main outlines of the nose, cheekbones, and chin, but it lacked the roundness of the cheeks, the fleshy part of the nose, the ears, and the lips. It was all dried up or destroyed, and the extremities were the same, with arms and legs resembling half-burned branches, whose appearance had been changed by the heat, as if they had been made of wax, covering tendons, contracted by a blaze, stiffening and contorting feet and hands. Hair and brows were of course missing, nor could I say whether that poor individual lying on the remains of a now extinguished fire was a man or a woman, a young person or an adult, light or dark-haired. The place seemed to be the outskirts of a city, where the countryside began, in a desolate, rocky, gloomy area. I contemplated and contemplated the poor body abandoned in this place, and was prompted to wonder, "Who are you?" I received no reply for many hours, but now, though finding myself again in the same place, I see it is animated by people dressed in an old-fashioned way, who were working to build a formidable pyre made of faggots mixed together with sturdy little trunks, a solid structure, ready to burn quite briskly. And then I see a procession of soldiers and townspeople coming from the city. I don't know what city it is, but it is certainly near the sea, which is sparkling off in the background under the midday sun. A young woman who is barely beyond adolescence is in their midst. She is being taken to the pyre. It was for her. She calmly and securely ascends, with the expression of supreme, dreamy peace I have always seen on the faces of the martyrs. She is followed to the foot of the pile of wood, and taken leave of there by a veiled, elderly woman, who is seen to be such from her rather plump figure, and the glimpse of her emerging when she lifts up her veil to kiss the young woman. She does not say a word, only kisses and tears. They want to push her back, and harshly oblige her to withdraw, while the first flames are already flickering over the pyre, setting fire to the dry heather. Setting fire to the dry heather of the faggots. But with a dignity not devoid of haughtiness, she replies to those who ask, "Why do you take an interest in this rebel? Are you a relative? Go away. One can't stay here comforting the enemies of Caesar." "I am Anastasia, a Roman lady, her sister. It is my right to remain at her side, as with my sisters yesterday. Leave me alone, or I will appeal to the emperor." They let her remain, and she looks at the young woman towards whom tongues of flame and waves of smoke are rising, concealing her at intervals. She observes her, serene and smiling in her spiritual dream, not feeling the nipping of the flames, which first take hold of her hair, which burns in a smoking tongue of fire, and then her clothing, until, replacing the white robe burned up by the flames, the instrument of martyrdom itself weaves her a splendid robe of living fire, and conceals her behind it from the gaze of the throng. "Goodbye, Irene. Remember me when you are at peace," Anastasia shouts, and the calm, youthful voice replies from behind the veil of fire, "Goodbye. I am already speaking about you with, and nothing is heard but the crackling of the flames. The soldiers and executors of the sentence withdraw when they understand that death has come upon her, and let the pyre finish its destruction on its own. Anastasia does not move, motionless between the heat of the fire and the heat of the sun, which is intense in this arid zone. She waits until there fall the shadows of twilight, in which there feebly shine a few surviving flickers in the midst of the pyre's wood. They seem to be writing mysterious words, narrating the glories of the young martyr in the evening. Then Anastasia moves. She does not go towards the pyre, but towards a hovel in ruins, which is not very far away, already lost in the bare countryside. Moving securely in the light of one of the first moonbeams, she enters an uncultivated little garden, bends over a well, and calls. Her voice resounds like bronze in the hollow of the well. Several voices reply, and from the shadows, one after another, they come out of the well, which must be dry. Come, there is no longer anyone. Come, before they offer an affront to her. She died like an angel, as she lived. I did not touch the ashes, because I gave her everything, as the Father of my soul ordered me. But oh, it is too horrible to see a young lily reduced to coal. Go home. Calm down. We'll act in your place. No, I've got to get used to this torture. He told me to, but then I won't be alone. She and the sisters will be with the angels at my side. But there now, brothers of Thessalonica. They go towards the pyre, which is totally extinguished, a heap of scattered ashes, on which the carbonized body I saw before is resting. Anastasia slowly weeps, as she wraps the body, mummified by the flames, in precious cloth. Helped by the Christians, they lay it on a litter, and the small, sad cortege, proceeding at the fringe of the city, reaches a vast house with a lovely appearance, behind which they go, placing the body in a cemetery, which has been dug out in the garden, as one of them, who is surely a priest, blesses it amidst the measured singing of the Christians present. Footnote 35. We slightly omit over 17 handwritten pages dated April 21st to 23rd, 1945, containing 3 episodes from the second year of the public life. April 24th, 1945. In the meantime, I shall make this first observation. I would otherwise forget it. The passage on the burial of Jesus last year, included in the index on the Passion, which we cut apart because it struck us as superfluous, as a repetition, was, however, useful to explain different matter to those desirous of honestly knowing everything concerning the Lord, and also to those denying the real death of Christ. Towards the end, it dealt with the way the body was embalmed and placed in the cloth, and this explained a number of things. Well, it is now over and done with. But be sure that when I am not sustained by Jesus, I am a perfect imbecile. I see nothing and understand nothing. It is thus utterly futile to come and to ask me for something after my task is finished. I no longer know anything. I no longer grasp the usefulness of a passage at all. Absolute zero and absolute darkness. This morning at dawn I was shown why that piece had been placed in the index of passages, and I swallowed my medicine against the pride of human judgment. I would now add a marginal note on an attached sheet containing an explanation of the preparation of the body, and include it for the benefit and instruction of those desirous of knowledge and those denying it. And let us now continue. Footnote 36. We pass over slightly under 51 handwritten pages dated April 24th, May the 4th, 1945, containing 10 episodes from the second year of the public life. May 4th and 5th of 1945. This morning, footnote 37, this passage is not dated and may be either the 4th or the 5th. The preceding sentence refers to Jesus' smile of compassion. This morning, he had a smile for me, too. I had fallen into such complete discouragement that I started to cry over so many matters, not the least of which is the exhaustion of writing, and writing with the conviction that so much goodness of God and so much effort by the little John are really futile. And I called upon my master in tears, and then, when by his goodness he came just for me, I told him what I was thinking. He shrugged as if to say, "Forget about the world and its foolishness," and then caressed me, saying, "What's the difference? Wouldn't you like to go on helping me? Does the world not want to know my words? Well then, let's say them to each other, for the sake of my joy in repeating them to a faithful heart, and yours in hearing them. The exhaustion of the apostolate, more debilitating than any other work. It takes away the light of the calmest day and the sweetness of the sweetest food. Everything turns into ash and mud, nausea and gall. But, soul of mine, these are the hours when we take up the burden of the exhaustion, doubt, and indigence of the worldly, who die from not possessing what we have, and they are the hours when we do most. I told you this last year, too. The soul, overwhelmed by what overwhelms the world, that is, by the waves sent by Satan, wonders, to what purpose? And the world drowns, but the soul nailed to the cross with her God does not drown. For an instant she loses the light and sinks under the nauseating wave of spiritual exhaustion, and then emerges fresher and more beautiful. Your saying, I am no longer good for anything, is a consequence of this weariness. You would never be good at anything, but I am always who I am, and therefore you will always be good at your task as a spokesman. Of course, if I saw that, like a weighty and very precious jewel, my gift was being greedily hidden, used imprudently, or by neglect not given protection with the guarantees made necessary by human wickedness to be employed in such cases to preserve both the gift and the creature to whom the gift is given, I would utter my enough, and this time with no turning back. Enough for everyone, except for my little soul, who today truly resembles a small flower under a downpour. And with these caresses, can you doubt that I love you? Come on, you helped me in wartime. Go on helping me now. There is so much to do. And I calm down under the caress of my Jesus' long hand and very sweet smile. He is white, as always, when he is just for me. May the 5th, 1945, Jesus says, Little John, come with me, for I must have you write a lesson for consecrated people today. See and write. Footnote 38. We pass over the following 80 handwritten pages which contain the episode of the healing of the little Roman girl, and 8 other episodes found in the second year of the public life, dated May the 5th to the 14th, 1945. May 15th, 1945. From the night on, there has been the horrible apparition of the face you know about, exactly the way I see it, and I have been terrorized. Footnote 39. We pass over 16 handwritten pages dated May 15th to 16, 1945, containing 2 episodes from the second year of the public life. May 17th, 1945. Jesus says, You are not feeling well, and I shall leave you at peace. I shall only have you observe the way a single omitted sentence or a poorly transcribed word can change everything, and you, as the one writing, are alive and can rectify at once. Consider then and understand that 20 centuries have managed to deprive the gospel of certain parts, with no harm done as regards doctrine, but with harm to the ease with which the apostolic gospel is understood. This, an activity which, if we go back to the origins, we discover is still laboring under disorder, accounts for many other things, and you see how easy it is to fall into an error in transcription. Little John, be still today. You are a broken flower. I shall later come by to restore your stem. For today I need the tears of your wound. God is with you. Footnote 40. We pass over 50 handwritten pages dated May 18th to 20th, 1945, containing 3 episodes from the second year of the public life. May 20th, 1945. In the evening, eternal love says, There are no words of my own, but you have heard me speak from the lips of the Word, the Virgin, and the Apostle. To those seeking God, to those studying God, and to those needing God, for you, in the midst of the bitter waves, a current of sweetness. For the others, what is found in the great amount which is given. I am the Spirit of love, but I am also justice. I give myself more to whoever is sacrificed to me more. Let whoever has ears to hear understand. Sensuality is not to be present in spiritual love. God's caresses are not gifts which you can demand. They are graces which are given, and it is necessary not to be greedy, like misers who want a great heap of money. And one must not be like the satraps, who spent their time gazing at the gems their subjects brought to their coffers, with no exertion on their part, whereas those bearing them had sweated blood to wrest the gems from the entrails of the seas and the ground. With his or her effort, let each one extract the extremely pure diamonds of wisdom. Do not incur in the easy deviation of spirituality towards sentimentalism. I am the fortifier, and I want fortitude in my faithful ones. Sentimentalism in religion is like the clay and the iron in the feet of the statue dreamed of by Nebuchadnezzar. Footnote 41. Daniel chapter 2 verses 31 to 36. It suffices for the pebble of a disappointment to strike them, and everything is in danger. And if the stone is large, there is ruin. Fortitude, children, fortitude. The earth is a place of struggle. Blessedness is here where I am, but to rise up to it, it is like a road of jagged jasper, a torture, and every torture is a merit. The Son of God had nothing but that. Do you want a better one? Renew yourselves in my fire.